Hey guys, my name is Natalie and welcome to my DIY channel. Alright, let's get doing it. This video is inspired by Heidi Sambol. She does some mega videos and I'm super excited to show you guys 10 easy and really fun farmhouse DIYs that I have done. So I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so I just got home from work and look at this project. You guys, my amazing husband did all of this for me today while I was at work. If he keeps this up, I'm seriously gonna have to rename my channel to Annalie Ashby and her husband. So it's primed as of right now, and then this shelf part is stained. Okay, here is the completed paint part of the project. So the planks are just painted a plain white, and the shelf plank I stained using the color Provincial in Min Wax stain that I already had on hand, and I did buy some paint for this project. Little tip for you guys, if you ever go to Lowe's and you need some paint but you don't need a lot of paint, ask for a color sample. This little sample right here was only like $2 or $3, and I just got it in the color white. As I mentioned before, the planks were already pre-cut for me, and including the shelf plank. So there are 11, so 10 on the bottom, and then 1 plank on the top. So far, for the total of the project, each plank was just under $2. It was like $1.88 per plank. And the very top plank is actually a little bit bowed and warped. That's another tip. If you guys ever go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you get some wood that's got it's bent, or if it's scratched or anything like that, always ask for a discount, because they're usually pretty good to give anywhere from like a 20 to a 50% discount. And in our case, because of that bent plank, we ended up getting it for free. I would have purchased a straight plank and not purchased that one, but they only had 12 of them total, and the last 2 were all bent. So if I wanted 11, I had no choice but to get a bent one, but I ended up getting it for free. So I paid for 10 planks and just under $2. It was roughly about $20 just for the planks. The shelf plank was about $4, and each of 4 bells were $10 each. So far we're about $45 into the project. I do have some hooks that I'm gonna put on next, and the hooks were about $5 a piece, and there's 4 of them. So it's roughly about a $65 project, which is a little bit pricey. I usually do more budget-friendly DIYs. However, we saw this is a Pinterest copy. We actually looked this up and found this on Wayfair, and on Wayfair on sale, it's $125, I believe. So we're still in at about half the price, and I made it myself. Well, okay, my husband and I made it, and so it's kind of our own little project. It's been really fun to make. Here is the finished project, and I am in love. It turned out so good. I cannot wait to put this on my wall and get it decorated. For this next project, I ended up receiving this little window here that you can see. It was donated to me, so it was 100% free. And so you guys will see that I get this cleaned up and then I distress it just a little bit. I was so excited for this because, like I said, this was completely free. I actually found this and ended up, when I saw it, I saw there was so much potential to it. So I went ahead and after getting it all cleaned up, I went ahead and I used some of the black chalk paint in the Waverly brand, and I just distressed the edges to give it a little bit of detail. I didn't even have to paint it because it was already in such great shape that I just went ahead and distressed the edges just to give it a little bit of dimension. Once that was done, I don't have all the clips for all of these videos because at the time I didn't know that I was going to be making a mega video. So some of them are missing just a few clips, but I did put some chicken wire behind the back of this window. So basically, simplest project to do, and it was basically free. It cost me the chicken wire and the wreath because I distressed it a little bit. It was already painted and ready to go, and then added some chicken wire, stapled it to the back, hung it up on the wall, and put a green wreath on the front of it. You guys, I love, love, love this project.
For this next project, the first things that I'm going to be using are these two supplies. I got this little thing right here. I actually got two of these because I'm going to be making two of these projects, but I got two of these from AC Moore, that store that's going out of business, so I got this for $1. And then these paint sticks that I got from Home Depot. This pack of 3 was also $1, so I got 2 packs of these, 2 of these, and now I'm going to show you what I'm making, and it will be the exact same project. I want 2 of the exact same thing that I'm going to make. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to cut those in half, and then I'm also going to take this part out, but I'm gonna save this because this is gonna be the rope that I'm gonna use to hang the entire project.
Okay, here's everything all cut and ready to go, and I ended up gluing this all together with some E6000, some hot glue, and then some staples just to kind of reinforce it just a little bit because I really wanted it to be sturdy and just a well put together project. And using some of my favorite stain in the Minwax brand, this is the color Provincial, I went ahead and I got all of these projects stained. I say all of these projects, both projects I stained. I ended up making 2 of these that look the exact same. Using some of this chalk paint in the Folk Art brand, I went ahead and I decided to stencil on. Okay, so I used my cutting machine, my Silhouette cutting machine, to cut out some of these decals with some vinyl, and then I put the vinyl down as a stencil, and then I used the chalk paint to stencil that on, as you guys can see. On one of them I did farm, and on the other one I did fresh. Using the leftover twine, I went ahead and I stapled that to the backs so that I could use that to hang the entire sign. Also on those little, I don't even know what to call them, those little buckets, those cute little troughs, I ended up using my cutting machine to also use a decal for the rooster that you see on there, and then I stenciled that on there. And then I put some foam down into those little cups, and then I used some greenery that I got from Hobby Lobby at 50% off, cut that down to size, stuffed that in, and then I just glued those onto the signs and hung them up. These are still one of my favorite projects that I've done.
For this next project, I'm going to be using these little box signs from the Dollar Tree. This is what they look like. I like the shadow box. I'm going to be taking the pom-poms off, and I'm going to be using the inside of this for this project. And then I'm going to be using some coasters, some Dollar Tree ribbon, some other ribbon, and then some scrapbook paper, and then some vinyl cutouts that aren't here.
Okay, so now that everything is all torn apart and ready to go, I used some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I just got everything colored. I just got everything painted and ready to go. I didn't worry too much about the flat parts because I end up covering that up a little bit later, in which you'll see with some scrapbook paper, and then also the coasters. Then I used some Waverly white chalk paint to paint these coasters, which you don't see me doing, but they're all painted and ready to go. And then I used some of the black chalk paint to distress the edges just a little bit because I love the dimension that it gives them. I love that it kind of helps these little blocks pop. then I just used these little decals that I again got. Oh wait, no, that's not what I did. Okay. Then I took some scrapbook paper and I traced the little boxes so that I knew what size I wanted it to be. I cut them out down to size, distressed them just a little bit, and then I glued them down in the bases of these boxes with some Mod Podge. And I also went over the tops of the paper with the Mod Podge as well. Then using some decals that I got from the Silhouette Design store, I just picked these out right from there. So these aren't actually fonts that I created. They were just little decals that I just printed off. I went ahead and I transferred each one of these decals onto one of the painted coasters that I did.
So you guys probably knew this, but sticking vinyl to chalk paint is probably not always the best idea. So I did cover it up with a little bit of Mod Podge, especially this one. I struggled with this one to stay down because of the chalk paint. These two transferred just fine, but I did cover the edges of all of these with just a little bit of Mod Podge so that everything would stay in place. All right, now I'm gonna glue my coasters in using some E6000 for the permanence, and then, some hot glue as well.
Then I wanted to add some little embellishments because if you guys know me, if you guys have been following me for a minute, you know that I love to embellish things. I'm also a bow person, so I put a bow on pretty much everything. Isn't there like a saying for that, like put a bow on it? I put a bow on everything. Once everything was embellished, then I went ahead and I took some of this burlap lace ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I ended up using some E6000 and some hot glue so that I could glue each one to the ribbon to kind of make a wall hanging banner. Again, you guys, this was such a simple project with all items used from the Dollar Tree, but I absolutely love how this turned out. I literally am showing you the end of this project, but what I ended up doing is I ended up cutting down some 1x2 sized wood into this little window shaped thing so that it gives me 3 windows. I got these little galvanized milk cans that you can see here from Hobby Lobby. They were 50% off, so it made them about $2 a piece. And then I got some greenery from Hobby Lobby, this little baby's breath from Hobby Lobby, and then I used some twine to hang it from the top and then tie it down around the tops of the milk cans. And later you'll see me add a little bit of a bow. But when I did the wood, I went ahead and I cut everything down to size, sanded it really good, stained it, and then distressed the top of the stain with some Waverly white chalk paint. I lost all of the footage for this. I don't know where it's at, but it's one of my favorite projects, so I didn't want to leave it out just because I didn't have all of the footage. So please forgive me that you do not see all of the steps here, but you at least see the end results of this. And like I said, it's one of my favorite projects. In fact, it's been requested by family members of mine too for me to make it for them. So I've actually been planning on making a couple of these, and so I just haven't made another one yet, so I don't have any footage. This is the only footage that I have of this project. Very inexpensive to make. It took me 2 pieces of wood that I got from Home Depot. Each piece of wood was just under $2. So you're under $5 for wood. Stain I already had on hand. Each of those galvanized milk cans were about $2 a piece. And then some greenery. You're in this project about $12. All said and done. And that's rounding up, I think. And then, like I just said, you guys know me, I always need a bow, so I went ahead and I glued a bow to the tops. I glued a bow to the front of each of these little milk cans. For this project, I used some more wood from Home Depot. This is in the 1x4 size, and I ended up cutting 2 pieces at different lengths. I believe, if I can remember right from the measurements, one of them is 18 inches long and one of them is 14 inches long. Using this large size drill bit, I went ahead and I drilled 4 holes in each corner of each piece of wood. Then I went ahead and I got it stained using the color Jacobean, which I love. It looks so good on these pieces of wood. And then I got some of this rope from the Dollar Tree. I ended up getting both kinds just because this was when that new white rope was just barely first out, and so there wasn't very much of it, so I got one of each. So, which I really like because it gives me the diversity of each rope on a shelf. And then I just weaved it through the holes, tied a knot on the bottom side of the shelf, and then it just comes up and over and hangs, and then I just frayed the knots on the bottom. One of the simplest projects you guys will ever make. Then using one of these signs that you can get from the Dollar Tree, these little like, I don't know, banner signs, they're so cute. I've seen so many YouTubers use these, and so when I saw this, I thought, oh yes, they have some. So I grabbed me a whole bunch of them, and the first thing that I did was I ended up spray painting it. I didn't even sand down any of the glitter because I am going to be covering that up. So I just went ahead and I gave it a few coats of some white spray paint. Once everything is spray painted, then I ended up getting one of these little galvanized banner signs from the Dollar Tree, and I just flipped it over so that I could use the back. Using my cutting machine, I picked out this little decal from the Silhouette Design Store, printed off this hello, cut it out, put it onto the galvanized metal, distressed the sides just a little bit to give it a little bit more dimension with some black chalk paint. And then I added some of this twine at the top because I wanted the holes. I like the holes actually there, so I used the holes to my advantage and just wrapped some twine through. I used some greenery that I actually got from Walmart. This is called Mixed Berry. Glued this to the top, added a bow, because like I said, we put a bow on it. Actually a little double bow with some buffalo check ribbon from Walmart, and then a jute twine bow on top of that. And here it is all together, you guys. This was so simple and easy to make and so inexpensive. This project was really fun to make and fairly easy, so I ended up just cutting out 11 total pieces of this 1x3 inch board from Home Depot, and each one of these pieces are 18 inches long. I got them cut out, sanded down, and stained using the color Jacobean. And then I ended up using the middle piece. I put 5 together, and then on the 2 outer pieces, I put 3 together, and then I used some of this lath board that I've cut up as well. They're about 7 inches long, I want to say. And I ended up staining those as well and putting those on top and bottom to make these beautiful shutters. They look so good. And then I did do some angle cuts to get those on the top, which I don't have any footage of, but I still love how these turned out. I just put a green wreath in front, and these shutters with that green, with the dark shutters, it just looks amazing. I wanted a bench in my home, so I went outside in my husband's scrap pile and I found this larger piece of wood to be the top part of my bench, and then I just used some 2x4s and I sanded everything down, cut the 2x4s down to size because I wanted 2 of them to butt up together. The 2x4s are 18 inches tall, and this bench is just under 4 feet in length, and it's a 2x10, 1x10. It's a 1x10 that I used for the top, so just under 10 inches wide for that top piece. I went ahead and I got everything cut down. I angled those pieces in the middle. You guys will see when it's all done, I angled the pieces together. And then I got all of the pieces stained, once again, using the color Jacobian. I went ahead and I pre-drilled my holes so that it didn't split my wood. And then I screwed the legs of the bench onto the top part of my bench. And then I decided that I wanted some bottom pieces on my bench, which, looking back, and if I do this again, I will do the bottom part of my bench first because I feel like it will help me square it up a lot better. But I went ahead and I threw some pieces on the bottom, these little pieces to hold up my 2 pieces that I put on the bottom. I used some 1x3 inch, cut it down to size, and I used 2 of those to butt those together and use those as the bottom of my bench. And then I just stapled everything together. Here you can see the finished project. You guys, are you loving this stain? One of my favorite colors of stain. And for my last project, I found this plant wall hanger on Pinterest and I decided to change it up just a little bit. So I actually used the base as a bigger piece. I used a 1x4 piece of wood for the part that goes against the wall, and then I used some 1x2 to cut down my little triangle for size. So I got everything cut, sanded, measured, ready to go, and then after that was done, I stained everything. I used this little galvanized piece of metal from the Dollar Tree. It was from a different project and I just set it aside and saved it, and I'm so glad that I did because it worked out perfectly. I used some vinyl that I cut out from my Silhouette Design store, and I just put that onto the metal, and then I just ended up stapling this entire project all together. I also got this little planter, this plastic planter from the Dollar Tree, and I didn't like the color of it, so I went ahead and I got it spray painted to this. It's this London gray spray paint color. It doesn't really look gray to me, but I really do like the color. So I went ahead and I got that painted so it could set aside and dry. And then using some of this Dollar Tree rope again, it's very similar in my opinion to some macrame rope, and it's wonderful. So I ended up using that in kind of a macrame fashion. I separated it and then I ended up tying it into a few knots so that I could put the planter down into it. And then I just used some greenery that I got from Walmart for super cheap. It was like $2 a sprig. And then I just put some foam down into the planter, put in the greenery, and then put the whole thing into the rope and hung it up on the wall. And this is the finished product. I love how this turned out. really enjoy these mega videos. I think it's really fun for you guys to see all of the projects that I've done in one video, and here's 10 ideas that you guys can do. I hope you guys get out there and do some DIYs for yourself, and if you guys do, please come over and show me on Instagram, tag me, connect with me, come find me. I'll have my Instagram link down below. I think it's such a great way to connect with you guys and talk to you even more in addition to the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. These were so much fun to make, and please let me know if this is something that you would like to see more of in the future. I appreciate you guys. Subscribe if you guys would like to see more videos just like this. Leave a comment down below. Like this video because it really does help my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye guys.